There we are. Can't do this. G'day, everyone. Time for a bit of qualifying. Nice view of my mine and Clem's kitchen in the background there. Hadn't actually factored that in when I set everything up, but there you go. We're looking at Austria, looking at a map of the circuit now, as it pauses briefly whilst my Now TV buffers. 3 sectors, same as every other track. Quite a short track. 3 DRS zones, we're getting a look at those now. 10 turns, 63.4 metres of elevation, and top speed of 303 kilometres per hour. That's the Austrian circuit. We're getting a replay here of Hauger versus Caldwell last year. What's he doing this year? I think he's doing endurance. At turn 1. G'day everyone. Backbones around. Hope you're well. There's something going on with the chat again, similar to the last stream we did, where I can't actually read any of it, but that's fine. Hang on, maybe I'll see if I can fix it. I threw my back out this morning. Chat. Stream manager? Yeah, okay. Alright, I can see. So, okay. Right, I think that kind of works. Okay, well, I can either read the chat or look at myself, but I suppose that I don't really need to look at myself, so I'll leave that for you guys. Getting a look at Enzo Fittipaldi now, pulling out of his pit box. He was quickest in practice this morning. See what's to come from the young man from Brazil. Clem up in the top 10, honourable mention. See if we can finally get it together. That'd be nice. Oh dear, my PlayStation controller is running out of battery. Travesty. Oh, my back is absolutely giving me grief. Holy heck. Oh. Fuck. See the VARs here now, and followed by the Tridents. Getting some temperature into the Pirelli P0 rubber there. Fuck, I really am struggling with my back here, team. But I'll try not to move too much. I'll see if I... Oh, fucking hell. I'll see if I sort of try and sit straight. That might be better for it. It's a good thing this is only qualifying and I can talk about my sore back. And you're not really missing too much as we see Ralph Boschung on his outlap with the super soft tyre on. Because in Formula 2 qualifying, there really isn't that much going on for about 80% of it. So, yes, no, it's just to the right-hand side of sort of 75% up my back. So it's a sort of higher up muscular. It feels muscular injury. Or maybe so there's some plates there. I've put in a wrong place, like a guest in, when a guest empties the dishwasher. So the VAR's straight in, or they're just going to do a procession through the pit lane to get themselves some different real estate around the Austrian circuit. Spielberg, not to be confused with the man who directed a bunch of films. I was going to say the Titanic, but then I realised that that wasn't Steven Spielberg who directed the Titanic. That, in fact, was James Cameron. Who, it all kind of ties in together, really, doesn't it? Because James Cameron, who directed the Titanic, did a big old deep sea dive. It was all sponsored by Rolex and all quite above board, in contrast to the Titan, which is that submarine thingy that was meant to be designed to visit the Titanic. And that turned out to, in a nutshell, it was a total fuck up. As we return now to pictures of Arthur Leclerc behind one of the VAR cars and one of the Red Bull juniors getting racy around the outside of him, that's going to be Isaac Hadjar, who's had a rough couple of rounds, I think. I could be completely off on that statement, but I think he might have had a rough couple of rounds. As we see Stanek now, looking to go a little quicker, but no, he's definitely still not pushing. So they're taking their sweet time as Novalak is at the top of the timing boards as we see it now. Stupendous. Long may it continue. Timestamp. 25 minutes to go and 50 seconds now. 25:50. That's where I'm at. Watching them squirrel the way. It's a really nice looking circuit now. It wasn't always. It was a bit bland a little bit ago, but I feel in recent years they've really turned up the wick here. Really nice looking layout. I mean, it's always been nice in the hills and stuff, but all this sort of paint looks quite nice. It's important. Look good, feel good, go good. Oh, Christ. Oh, I need like some kind of heat pad. Or a Theragun or something, or perhaps a healthier lifestyle. Get a shot of Juan Manuel Correa there. Sweeping through one of the corners, I don't know. So see Stanek again now. Now he looks to be pushing. 24 minutes and 40 seconds to go if you are trying to catch up and join us. Risk of rainfall for the session is 20% apparently. I like those odds. But with that threat, they will be looking to get a lap in sooner rather than later. So perhaps we'll have a little bit more action here on your Friday afternoon. I've taken the day off work, by the way, in case anyone was worried that the insurance industry was going to collapse. As we see Stanek getting really wide out, and I think that's turn 5, and I can't see him keeping this lap if he eventually, as and when, does finish it. Yeah, he looks a decent way over the white line there. So they're being quite anal, for lack of a better word, on the track limits here in Austria, as they usually are. Very persnickety. Do you like the race car driver Paul Tracy? Sure. I've never met him, but all right. Novalak's going to put a lap in, and he's quicker than Stanek, so that's something. And we're quicker than Benavides. We're just going to count the people we're quicker than. Not Crawford. Jackie Moon to the top of the sheets. I've said that before. And now we're just getting absolutely bludgeoned to death by pretty much everyone. So as it stands, it's Vesti, Doohan, Correa, great lap, Verschoor, Leclerc, Awaza, Crawford, Novalak as Bearman goes third and followed by Pourchaire going second. And now Martin's to the top. I mean, to be honest, if I was smarter, I'd kind of wait for this cycle to be over and then give you a run through the field. That might make a bit more sense as we see Fittipaldi with a fluorescent green advertisement for kick on the side of his car there. I don't know if I'm going to get demonetized by Twitch for saying a brand name of their competitor, but, whatever. Okay, so it seems like it's all calmed down now, and it's Victor Martins up top, sexy Frenchman, followed by Fittipaldi, the popular young man from Brazil, championship leader Frederick Vesti, he's in third. Then it's Pourchaire, fourth, Doohan, Hauger, Miney, Bearman, Correa, up still in the top 10 there. Amaury Cordial in P10, great effort from him. I've almost said Maldonado there, but no, in fact, it is Maloney. Deruvala, Verschoor, who was right behind his teammate Correa in 9th, but they've been separated through to 13th. Awaza crosses the line 14th, Crawford 15, and then Novalak 16, Hadjar, Stanek, Benavides, with Nissany, Boschong, and Leclerc yet to settle out. That's how they run. Who's your favourite IndyCar driver, Marcus? Hate to say it in some ways, but you know. Love is blind. Love is blind. Love is blind. All right, now we're going to get laps from one of the premiers. Vesti, he's going again. Uh, Correct, followed very closely by Scott Dixon. There's really almost literally nothing in it. I know I'm not happy to say it. I'm not happy about it, but it's facts are facts. Anyway, let's return back to an onboard with Vesti. So he's just gone green in the first sector, and he's in third. So that does bode well for the lap. Throws the anchors down into turn four. A little bit of understeer, pushing him a little bit wide over that curbing, but nothing too dramatic as Doohan's purple in sector one now as well. The young man from Australia who resides in Monaco. As we see Vesti swinging it now into the last sector. Approaching the final two turns now, Vesti. Two of my favourite corners in motorsport, actually, must be said. There's a lot of times being deleted, and Novalak's inherited 16th. And how's Vesti going to shape out here? As he crosses the line, stays P4. But Doohan improves to P2. No, 3. Did I see that Shane Van Gisbergen is racing NASCAR this weekend? Yes, I did. I did see that, and it reminded me. I mean, I couldn't be fucked in the end, but what I was going to do is, that meme that I think is from Back to the Future or something. I haven't seen the Back to the Future movies. It is criminal of me, I know. But there's that meme where someone was like, "Hey, I've seen this one before." I think it's that movie. It might be another one. Could be Groundhog Day. I don't know. And it reminded me of when McLaughlin moved to do something with Penske, and or when Penske owned the supercars team, and then basically just it was essentially a $10 million 2.5 year exercise to sign Scott McLaughlin to Penske's IndyCar team. So I think this is the tip of the iceberg for the Supercars Championship. I'm going to get political here as we're on a cool down lap for most of the F2 field. And for anyone who's got no interest and nothing to do with the V8 Supercars Championship, you might find this part a little bit dull, but bear with me, I will come back. I think the V8 Supercars Championship nowadays is becoming almost more and more like a feeder series for World GTs and other championships around the world, which are doing, frankly, a significantly better job of promoting their series. We're seeing a real boom in motorsport popularity at the moment, and I don't think that Supercars is doing a very good job of keeping up with the times and the trends. So drivers are getting a little bit bored in the championship and then looking further afield once they've had some success. Now, that's not happening all the way through the field. There always will be a place for top-level tin top motorsport in Australia, and that place will always be the Supercars Championship, formerly known as V8 Supercars. But I just see it becoming less and less respected on a international level as it perhaps was maybe 5 to 10 years ago. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk, and I will now proceed to talk about Formula 2 qualifying in Austria again. Awaza. 2 yellow sectors from Awaza, so not a lot of improvement happening out there from what we can see. And I am basing, this is only one piece of data, and I've just made a massive sweeping statement about the entire session. So, friendly reminder, anything you hear on Screaming Meals, take it with a pinch of salt or assume it's not true. Yeah. Lewis Dicus? I'm just going to pronounce it that way. Making a good point there, but I won't read it out. Excited to see Barbie. I've heard a lot about this Barbie film. A lot of chat yesterday about some of my trousers, which are apparently Barbie coloured. I really haven't paid much attention to it. It's unintentional. I do just like wearing pink. And upsetting the pseudo masculine lads in my workplace who are just terrified of anything but a pair of chinos from Reese and a Ralph Lauren Oxford shirt. So we see Cordell in the pit lane now, and Hadjar crawling into the pit lane. He's lucky it's downhill if he's got some kind of issue. He's going to really have to focus on his momentum here if he's going to get it all the way back down to high tech. Who's and news out of the high tech camp this week, maybe even last week, they've taken on some new investment from a Kazakhstani billionaire who I think has made a lot of his money in petrochem and sort of natural minerals and resources and things like that. So almost a sort of mirror sponsorship to Uralchem, which is obviously the Russian company, the sort of natural resources harvester. So yeah, again, just getting backing from a billionaire with in exactly the same industry and in the same sort of part of the world. Fascinating. I mean, maybe it's like buses. You know, when one comes along, or two come along all at once, and you think, oh God, I've got options here. Amazing. Almost exactly the same sponsor. As we see Hadjar's car being wheeled in back of the garage there as the HMPs are going out. So what's happened to Hadjar here? Oh, that looks like an engine. I'm not a mechanic, but that does look like an engine. Is that Abby pulling on the commentary? Can somebody correct me? No one's corrected me, so I'm assuming it is. Alice Powell, sorry. Alice Powell on the commentary. Yes, talking about Hadjar's reputation for getting a bit emotional. A little bit of shade that way. Not untrue, though. As we see a brand new set of boots going on Bearman's Prema wagon. Here's some radio. He's been pinged for track limits at turn 10, which is a bit of a bugger. He is going to have to pull a lap out of his ass here, young Ollie Bearman. Now, you can race in Austria, but as I was looking at the championship standings, any interest in the Ashes, James? Absolutely none. As I was looking at the championship standings, Bearman really has been feast or famine this year. It's really been win or bust. Almost all of his points have come from race wins. Um, so he's got to pull a couple of fingers out here. And I had a drink with him last weekend. He caught up. And he showed up to a pub dressed like he was ready for a insurance conference. White polo and black chinos and smart trainers. So somebody's got him on a short leash. And he seemed very calm, very collected, and very sort of relaxed. And then he had to shoot off to another do for his mates who had passed their A-levels and made me feel like a complete pedophile. But it was alright. So some other friends started showing up. So, all good, as we're hearing from Teo Porcher. Sorry, I'm just listening to Teo Porcher here, who looped it actually in practice. Had a rare moment of, I don't know, Durbrainism, where he just dropped it, ending the practice session a bit earlier. Not used to seeing that from him. Third year for him this year. Wasn't going to do it, but the seat became available at ART. It was a bit of a weird one, that one. That seat was like the last one to get snapped up on the grid, I think. And as they've shown a lot this year, they've got a really strong package. So, interesting. I mean, not to stir the pot, but it was an option we weren't not considering. But thought better of it in the end. As we see Doohan getting some air on his face. Yes, I've had a haircut this week. which is now apparently news. Much to the relief of Ali. She was getting continuously more and more pissed off about the hair, which is about 90% of the reason why I kept it so long. And it looks like they're going to get rolling again here as we get a shot of the clouds over the Styrian Mountains. Getting a little bit darker there, and maybe even cooling the track temperature down a bit, or the air temperature, which can make the cars go a little bit quicker. But obviously, if it starts to rain, then that very quickly becomes not so much the case. Yes, doing TikTok now. Not enjoying it. It's a bit silly, but Clem says it's really important to uphold a public image. So I'm doing them. But I want to make it absolutely clear that it's against my will. It's Enzo Fittipaldi breaking into turn 3 now, looking to get some heat into his tyres. And here's a replay of Bearman crossing the line at turn 10. That is fucking marginal. Oh, my back, man. Holy hecker. Thoughts on Talk AlphaTauri something? What? Oh! Alright, that comment wasn't worth the back pain, but thoughts on the AlphaTauri seat chat at the moment? Well, I have a number of opinions on this. My ideal option number 1 is for... Well, I mean, brass tacks. So we hear some radio from Vesti. So he's doing a good job at being really strict on track limits. No matter what, I want to see De Vries get another year because I feel like he deserves it. I feel like if you look at any of his other championships where he's ended up being dominant, it's usually been in the second year of that championship. And also Yuki Tsunoda, let's not forget, had an absolute shocker of a first year at AlphaTauri. And got a second shot at it, and look at it now. He's delivering and he's performing. So I think we need to change this. And I say we, it's not my business. I'm not running it. It's literally none of my business. But this is just my opinion. But I'd like to see a change of the sort of almost like football manager culture of if there's not results, just get rid of them. I think there's a time and a place for that, but I don't think it's after half a season's racing. As for what might happen as far as the ripple effect for the rest of the Red Bull program, so if Sergio Perez isn't there next year, then yeah, maybe there is an argument to say, Sonoda's not ready and Nick's not ready for the big seat, so give Daniel another shot until somebody in the AlphaTauri program's really knocking on that door. Let Daniel bow out in style if he's got something to prove that he can take it to Verstappen, then, let's have it. Otherwise, it'll just be a year of Daniel Ricciardo having a comeback. He'll get beaten by Max, potentially. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying hypothetically, if he was to get beaten by Max, he'd go, fuck. Oh, well, hang up the lid, and then maybe Nick or Yuki's ready for that seat. Then, obviously, introduce friend of the show, Liam Lawson, into the frame as well. Be great to see him get a chance in Formula One. Is it going to happen at the Red Bull stable? Potentially. And that option probably does only open up if either Nick or Yuki loses their seat. And if that does happen, I would like to see Liam in the seat as opposed to Daniel Ricciardo, because AlphaTauri ultimately, historically, has been for the young talent in the Red Bull Academy to come through and prove their talent, not for has-beens, let's be honest, thing of the past, to come back and have a farewell tour and retire with a few extra million in his back pocket. I don't think that's what the sport should be about. I think that's just my opinion. Is they're still on outlaps building up tyres with 7 minutes and 10 seconds to go here now in this qualifying session. Don't know, I haven't looked at the chat throughout that, but hopefully nobody's going to abuse me on the internet. Enzo Fittipaldi, 7th in the Drivers' Championship, sitting on 49 points. Novalak clinging on in P16 by virtue of probably a few track limits violations. Come on, Clem. P10 and Pracky. That's all you need again, brother. Reverse grid pole. And a massive plug for the Empire. That's what we want. Some of the drivers moaning about each other there. Alice Powell bringing us up to speed on that on the actual Sky Sports commentary. Ooh, breathing in deeply is really quite painful. As Fittipaldi had the quickest first sector there for all of about 2 seconds, and then it's been nipped away by somebody else. Not quite sure who, as we follow him down the second DRS zone here. I'm going to turn the TV up a bit. James, am I okay? Not particularly, no. I'm in a lot of pain because I'm old and unfit. As we see Enzo Fittipaldi now coming down the hill. The track really starts to fall away there. You lose grip quicker than you think you might, and then it's bang into the next. Another left-hander. Left, right, over the curbs. Now you have a bit of a breather before the last 2 corners, and it's Martins who's purple in Sector 2. He's already up the top of the timing sheets. I think there was a mispronunciation in there somewhere, but we'll power through. As Fittipaldi keeping it nice and tidy through the last 2 corners there, well within the white lines. And what's he going to do over the stripe? It's going to be Deruvala good enough for P2, and Fittipaldi immediately snatches it straight back off him with the 114.953. Still quite a ride from Victor Martins up the top, and it's Porsche now follows it up the P2. It's ART 1-2. Now Miney puts it 3rd. Doohan now puts it 4th. Fittipaldi 5th, remains there. Bearman good enough for 8th. Vesti good enough for P2, splits the ARTs up the top with 4 minutes 50 left in the session. Maloney struggling a bit down in P16. Here's Cordeal. He's gone green in the first 2 sectors in P11. And he goes 7th. Fair play to the man. You and I virtuosi seem to have got their shit together. Judging on those 2 qualifying laps that we've just seen. Again, I could just be throwing around wild statements based on almost no data, but this suggests that they could be knocking on heaven's door this weekend. And one of the Premers there getting a little bit racy now as they all cool the tyres and have a big old handbag over the real estate. And, oh, God, Christ, you can see 3 wide. Oh, gee, it's all going on. This is a real, what I believe scientists refer to as a clusterfuck. That we're seeing here, because it's you're sort of fighting for space, but you don't want space. It's almost like when you've lost an argument, but you're just still swinging and seeing what sticks, because you don't want to be jammed up behind someone because you'll be fucked through the corners, but you also don't want to be out Nigel no mates because then you just push an air around. So, and no one really knows. I'm going to be completely honest, what they're doing at this stage in proceedings. It's really just a bit of pot luck and a bit of experience, perhaps, as they all search for some fresh air to set a lap. But I think they're going to have at least one more cool here, I would have thought, because it is a short circuit here in Austria, so those tyres are going to take some time to cool down. A bit of a buffer there, and it looks like Nissani's still pushing through turn 1. Are they still pushing? It's actually quite hard to tell. I mean, they seem pretty... Yeah, they are still pushing. Fittipaldi's improved in Sector 1. So here we go. We're going to go again, folks. And just to remind, at the moment, it's Martins, Vesti, Porsche, Miney, Doohan, Fittipaldi, Cordeal, Leclerc, Deruvala, Crawford, your top 10. Bearman knocking on the door, P11. Oh, and somebody's run well wide there. It's Deruvala in the MP. And he's totally fucked Fittipaldi's lap in doing so as well. Big old moment for Dizzle. But he's kept the thing pointing in a straight line. That is important. And those yellow flags should be gone now, but he's probably thrown all sorts of crap all over the road. There's Doohan getting a little bit sideways through the penultimate corner there. Straightens it up and over the line he's going to go. And Porsche's right up his ass. But doesn't improve. Minute 50 to go here, folks, and I'm not too sure how this one's going to pan out. Who pulled it in F3? Was it Bortoletto? Saucy. I love Gregoire Saucy. I've actually never met him, but I think he's just got a fantastic name. Gregoire Saucy. I mean, never going to struggle in a bar. Put it that way. I'd love to get Gregoire Saucy on the pod, but you would need to put up with me calling him Gregoire Saucy every single time I addressed him. Now, Gregoire Saucy, tell me more about that. Very interesting, Gregoire Saucy. I'm up for it. I mean, I love the name. And he's a quick peddler too, obviously. He's on pole. So, Gregoire, if you're watching, mate, open invitation. We'd love to have you. As we see Fittipaldi now lining up for another one, it seems. And these tyres are really going to be past their prime now. This is essentially his second and a half push lap on them. So not ideal. I'm not even going to talk about Trident. Not even going to do it. Don't fancy it. Fittipaldi, 0.045 off Martins in the first sector, and he's just thrown it with a massive lock-up at turn 3. Fair play to the man. I mean, he was battling a losing battle with those tyres, the way they were. As we're going to see Hajar with his DRS wide open. He hasn't really got a lap in, or much of a lap in at least. He's down in P21, and that looked a little bit far over on the stripe there, but I'm not too sure. Green and S1. Yes, yeah. I'm not going to talk about Trident. I said I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. He looks on for around about a P15, P16 here, Hajar, who looked like he did an engine at the start of the session. Right on the limit through the last corner. And it's going to be good enough only for P17. He'll be disappointed with that effort. And I'm not going to talk about Trident. So it's going to be Victor Martins from Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Frederick Vesti, the Great Dane, in P2. Good on Victor. I love Victor. He's a really great young man. He's very professional. Works hard. Comes from nothing, actually. I think his parents like teachers and stuff. So he's not one of the rich kids of Formula 2. Super hot. Lovely guy. Hard worker, and quick peddler. Look at him. On pole. Lapping it up. How about the man? So like I said, yeah, it's Victor Martins from Scooby-Doo, Taro Porsche P3, and now Sky Sports is obviously on to me because they've cut to an ad break and I cannot read out the rest of the running order, but it will be available for you on various sectors of the internet, so you can have a look at those later. I may or may not do the Formula 1 qualifying. When's it on? How long have I got? Four. What's the time now? 3:30. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. But I'll definitely be doing, by the way, all of the races this weekend on my lonesome. No guests due to appear. Obviously the boys are both racing both in mid-Ohio and Austria. So I'm going to try and do IndyCar qualifying, the sprint race for F2, the feature race for F2, and the IndyCar race. I don't think I have the bottle for Formula 1. I'm terribly afraid. And to be honest, doing the Formula 1 Grand Prix on my own is stupendously challenging at the best of times. So, yeah, fuck it. I might come back on for qualifying if you're lucky. So see you soon, you backbones, no matter what. Thanks for tuning in. And please don't be mean to me.